Sure, if it doesn't miss anything else.
Shouldn't. I turned it off thinking that it might be the clicking reason, but it wasn't that.
Alright, so should I start it?
Yeah, let's start.
Alright, you're on.
Awesome. It's 7 o'clock, yay! Yeah, get to paint. It's funny, you get everything ready to paint, and then you gotta wait. No, you gotta wait. But I want to get painting. Thanks so much for tuning in to do this, guys. And Jackie, of course, she's right over there. She's on the couch, and she's checking Facebook and Twitter and all that too. So we have the
That's me.
That's me. So we have the chat on YouTube, and we switched over to YouTube. We're hoping it's going to be a little bit better because we'll be able to put the videos online and hopefully get a DVR sort of thing going on. And maybe it's going on now, or maybe it's not. Apparently, this stuff is very technical, apparently, and it's beyond me. So we're just playing with it, having fun with it as it goes. But if you go to the webpage, if you went to bramblitt.com, bramblitt.net, and you went to the live stream and you're watching there, if you want to chat, either use Facebook or Twitter or something. Well, probably Facebook is better, but if you in the personal page, or what are you checking over there actually? Is it the Facebook personal or is it the art page?
It's the art page.
The art page, okay, the art page. So you can also chat there, and but if you do want to chat on the YouTube chat, then it is with the video there, like towards the right hand bottom is a little YouTube icon, and the only place you can see the chat is actually on the YouTube channel. That's where they have their widget and all that. We could embed the video on our website, and they let you do that, but it doesn't carry the widget, the chat over with it. So if you want to chat on YouTube, you just click on that, and it'll take you over to our YouTube channel, and then the chat is on the right hand side, and it might make you sign in or something. I don't know.
I think you have to sign in.
You have to sign in? Okay. Yeah, so there's that. And if you don't want to bother with that, you can always go to the art page on Facebook and chat. But chatting is the funnest thing. I don't know. I love to hear what everybody has to say. And also, I think some people are going to be painting along. So if you have any questions, or if I do something, you're like, why did you do that? Or why didn't you do this other thing? I would love to hear your ideas. Or if you have an idea of maybe you could have done it this other way or something. So earlier this week, though, I put a sketch on Facebook because last week we had so much fun. I thought, man, it would be fun if I actually put a sketch on there of a painting that we're working on. That way somebody wanted to look at it beforehand. And it's a really simple sketch, as you can see. And for mine, it's tactile. I can touch it and I can feel the lines. Yours, you probably don't need to do that. It's fun to do it, though. I recommend it. And this is just a basic little, it's a 3-celled chip, obviously. And we're going to have the water down here and have the sky up here. And for me, this is really more of a music painting. And next week, we're going to be in New Orleans all week. And every morning when I wake up, I listen to New Orleans jazz. Oh my goodness, it's just a way to wake up. And it's hard to have a bad day when the first thing you hear is "Welcome to New Orleans," and then the brass comes in and the drums are like, they're going. You're like, yeah, this is the way to start the day. So it's that's what I'm into now. And these paints, and I know I answered a lot of questions last week, but if you have any questions about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, like my paints are brailled. I'll just go over it really quickly. My paints are brailled, so I read the paints the exact same way that another person would. I also put them in roughly the same spot, so I can roughly find them whenever I want them without having to search around for them too much.
Yeah. Evelyn says, hi, sweet thing, and her username is Evelyn doing art with John.
Oh, nice.
Brooks Goggins says, beep, boop. In other words, hello for Brooke.
Well, Evelyn, hey, and And Brooke, I know that you wanted Jeff Bridges undies, but I couldn't score them for you. Sorry. It just didn't cross my mind.
And Owen McGafferty says hello.
Oh, hey, Owen, man. How's your art going? Man, Owen paints like a mad person. Paints all the time.
And Richard Salazar says hello. He wanted to drop in and tell you how much he really loves your artwork, and him being visually impaired, he has a guide dog named Princeton.
Oh man, oh that's awesome. How old is Princeton? If you don't mind me asking, I'm just curious. Echo is getting close to 10 years old, which is the magic number where they start thinking about retiring a guide dog, which is a horrible thought. I think I don't know. I just don't want to. I don't know. She is so good. Princeton though, that is a great name for a guide dog. Man.
Oh, and he said he was fortunate enough to get a print of Old Reliable for Christmas.
Oh man, well, thank you so much for that. And please tell Princeton hi for me. Oh, and I should say on this painting right now, I'm just blocking in some color, and this is going to be a very happy color. I'm a painting. I was talking about the New Orleans jazz, and this is very loose, so I'm not having to feel that much. I'm just going over it because I just want to cover up this canvas. I just want to get a little bit of some color down here. Man. So, man, it's been a weird week. We had a show at Union Museum in Louisiana, which is a small museum in size, but oh my goodness, that community just backs that place. It's just incredible. You go there and the whole community is excited about it. But we drove there Monday. It was and we finished out the show, and so it was one of those trips where you're in the car for how many hours? What was that? It was like
10.
It was 10.
Well, yeah, both ways.
Oh yeah, so yeah, it was a bit of a trip. But the cool thing about it, whenever we started the show about a month ago, we went into the schools and we painted with almost every kid in that town. We also painted with some kids outside of that town. So all together, we painted with a bunch of kids. And the cool thing about the show at the museum is that they hung my artwork in the museum, but they also hung all the kids' art. So you went in there and it was just, the walls were covered with artwork, and every kid had a piece in the show, at least one piece. And it was just so much fun and so cool. But we had to leave before their art was dried. So whenever we came back to close the show out, I was able to go through and feel the kids' art, and man,
and they also had inspirational quotes quotes from the students around the art about their experience with you, which was really cool because some quite a few of them were they felt like obstacles weren't so difficult, and
cool.
they really enjoyed hanging out with somebody that liked art as much as them. So that was cool.
No, that was cool. Yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's true. And some of those kids, man, like the artwork was so different. And Brooke, who's watching there, she's a teacher, so she could attest to this. But of course, Brooke, she teaches older children, doesn't she? But still,
yeah, high school.
Kids are incredible though, and I mean they're willing to try anything. High schoolers, sometimes you got to talk them into it, or at least make them think that they thought of it first. That works. Yeah. Like, oh, you don't want to paint, do you? No, painting's awful. They're like, heck yeah, I want to paint.
Richard said that Princeton is 2 and it's his second.
Oh my goodness, 2. So you haven't had him long.
I'm curious. I'm actually kind of curious how it is transitioning from your neck, like you're so used to this one particular guide dog, Echo, we are. And then transitioning to this new one with a whole new personality, and how difficult was that for you, if you don't mind chiming in?
Yeah, man. And Richard, I hear that so much, and from people who have visual impairment, and they're having to get dogs. They're having to switch from one dog to another, and it's something that always comes up. You just build that teamwork and the partnership, and is it hard on your old dog?
Yeah, what did they do to make the old dog still feel accepted and wanted? And I'm afraid Echo's going to freak out.
The thing about Echo though, she loves food, So it's kind of like me. I think if I retired and I was feeling like I've been replaced, if somebody came by every like hour or so and just give me a candy bar or something, I'd probably be like, okay, hey, this is pretty cool. Why couldn't we have done this years ago? But that's just me. But it was a really cool week though. We I was able to paint a lot, which is awesome. But we went to Louisiana. We had that, and then had a turnaround trip to Santa Barbara where I did a sitting with Jeff Bridges, which, man, he is just the coolest guy. Just he's just like the dude in The Big Lebowski. But I heard that with that movie though that he ad libbed, it was mostly ad lib. So instead of, I guess, like Bridges being like The Big Lebowski, it was like The Big Lebowski was like Bridges, really. So it's kind of which came first, the chicken or the egg? But all I know is that he was just really warm, just really cool.
So Kyle R. from Blue Shoe Media joined us, and he's excited to talk to you, and thanks for the continuous inspiration.
Oh man, well, thank you so much.
And Nancy,
Blue Shoe Media.
Nancy joined in and said Echo's such a cool dog. She'll be cool about her replacement. Nancy was cool about hers.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm assuming about retirement.
well, that. Pardon me. The allergies around here, man. That's it's good to hear. So I'm still putting in. This is going to have water down here, but like I said, it's really a music piece. But right now, I'm just putting in basic paint, just basic paint. So if you're playing along at home, I'm using a very lemony yellow, but also with some orange to give it a bit of a darker tint. And then down here on the water, I'm using a side-to-side sort of motion. I love using that motion for water. To me, it just seems like the integration of light and water is just being reflected, but it's also music, the way that one note will interweave with another note. And so I love that. So it's a very side-to-side sort of motion for that. And then I'm going to let that dry a little bit. And I'm painting with a little bit thinner paint, so it'll dry a little bit quicker. And then I'm going to move up here and see what kind of trouble I can get to up there. Let me make sure, is that the red one? Yeah, okay. I get in a habit sometimes. I always put my paint back in the exact same spot, but I have to remember to double check, because sometimes what I think I did, I didn't do, and I might grab the wrong color. But nope, this is the good one.
So, John, why don't you tell them why, because you're putting, me being sighted, you're putting yellow paint on top of your black outline. How do you tell where your outline is, if you've got paint right on top of it? Well,
and I have to say, too, that, a lot of times when I draw, it's white on white. But I did white on black because I don't need to see it, obviously, so I feel it. So it's a little bit raised enough where I can feel it. And so even though it's a thin paint going over it, so it still leaves a raised edge. So that I know where it is. And even if it was white on white, which sometimes I draw with that, and because it's not going to change the hue. So if I want to be able to feel the line and to see it, but I don't want that line to change what's the paint that's going to be on top of it. I want you to be able to see it. Then I'll just do white on white because I don't have to see the line in the first place. So I got an edge up when it comes to that. But.
So Owen is now hanging out with us. Apparently that message was from earlier. So.
Oh, cool. Well, welcome, Owen. Man, and so Owen wasn't here earlier, or what?
No, he was chiming in to see what time it all started. So.
Oh, okay. Well, cool, man. Well, welcome. Hope your art's going well this week, buddy. You're always working on something. I know that. Next week we're going to be in New Orleans for the entire week, and I am I've never been to New Orleans. I have an uncle that lives there, Wendell, and he is the funniest guy you'll ever meet. He is so much fun, but I've never been to New Orleans. I've always been lucky when Wendell visits, he comes up here, but we're going down there to work with the Lighthouse for the Blind, and to see the town, and to see what kind of trouble we can get into, and what kind of art's going on down there. Catch some live music, but mostly.
Speaking of New Orleans, Tony just chimed in and said hello, and she's from New Orleans.
Yeah,
and hopefully we're gonna hang out.
Man, I hope so.
I actually, I should probably say, um, but I've been meaning to email you to schedule something and let you know what time we're in town. So I will do that. Look for that email.
And sorry about that, Tony. Oh, you know me. Today we just booked the hotel today. Which is ridiculous. We've known about the trip forever. So it's just but we're gonna stay in the French Quarter, and oh my goodness, I'm looking so forward to working with the lighthouse there. That is just so cool. The work they do is brilliant.
So, Richard said retirement can be hard on both handler and the dog. It is hard, but a new experience with a new dog is worth it.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
that's very optimistic.
Yeah.
I like that. I've been kind of dreading getting a new dog, but Echo's starting to slow down a little bit. She's starting to like her naps more than she loves to work, but that little window of her being really excited about going to work, it dissipates a lot faster than what it used to, and she's ready for a nap. And whenever we stop somewhere, if we're stopped for more than a minute, she's taking a quick nap.
Yeah, see, I'm excited about Echo going into retirement because then I feel like she becomes more my dog than yours. She might actually listen to me a little bit more. But,
I don't know about her listening, but
well, I'll probably end up sneaking her some more treats or creating some bad habits.
Well, man, you and her are buddies though. Like I don't know. It's weird. It's like me and Echo are really close. Because we're always together and whatnot. But and we travel all over the place and we have all these experiences. But just for sheer pals, like for hanging out.
Yeah.
Man, you're her number one, I think, because you don't ever ask her to do anything. It's just treats and fun. It's just cuddles. Like let's get on the big giant pillow and cuddle.
Yeah, my thing with the guide dogs is there are a few things that you miss out that that other dogs can do, like get on the furniture. I mean, some people don't like that, but it'd be nice if you can cuddle on the couch with them or whatever, and she can't do that. So we have this enormous 6-foot pillow thing that it was a previous gift ages ago. It's not a dog bed, but it is turned into a dog bed because it fits both me and Echo. And she can officially be on it, so me and her will cuddle up on that. And so, I'm sure when she goes into retirement, we will be creating some bad habits there.
It's adorable. And she's a big girl. Like on the plane, it was a 3-hour flight from California last night. We got in at midnight, and the guy that was sitting next to me, Echo was really half on him. She's an 80-pound dog, and he's a really nice guy. He was like, I don't care. If my legs go to sleep for a short flight, it's no biggie. So that was cool. I don't know. But yeah, you and Echo on that big pillow.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you guys are cute. So right now, I'm just mixing some different colors in here. So I should tell, is there anybody that's painting along? Because if there is, I'll give more. Maybe I should say more of what I'm doing anyway. I don't know. I'm talking about dogs and stuff.
So Nancy, I guess because your boat painting is inspiring her, but Nancy said she wanted to sail and wants us to charter a boat to the Caribbean.
Nancy?
Yeah.
I was going to say, this sounds like something Nancy would say. Is this something Nancy? Is this the Nancy that's saying it? Words. Words and thoughts. Not necessarily my strong point. Well, man, that would be cool. The lady who was the director for John, the documentary that they shot last summer, and they're actually we're going to work on it some more. Apparently, they're going to make it bigger. So they're going to come out here. By the way, that's me like so they're going to come out.
Where was that? Say that again.
The Ryan and Lara and them, like they're going to add more to the film.
Oh.
So
cool.
So they're going to come back out here. But her family, like their family, ever since she was little, they have this huge extended family, and they have this sailboat. And like this summer, they're going to sail up to Alaska. They sail all over the world, and it's funny because like there's so many people in they're a huge family, friends and family that the boat's always sailing somewhere. So like they may fly out to the Caribbean and catch up the boat, and then and they'll write it somewhere else. That is a lifestyle that it's hard for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
That just sounds so cool.
Did they say why they were adding more footage? Are they gonna are they gonna? I mean, it's not long enough to make a feature. Not that your life's not fascinating, but
exactly.
like a movie length, feature film. I mean, are they trying to enter it into longer?
No, well, I think the Discovery Channel might be interested.
Oh, cool.
And one of the things that they said was, one of the things they liked about it the most was like whenever I was filming Lyra's face in the movie, and they really liked that. And they thought, well, it'd be cool if we kind of expanded that a little bit and did a whole sort of painting. With that. And so I was like, okay.
You're down for anything.
Yeah, like, let's do it.
So Owen asked if the documentary would be on DVD or Blu-ray eventually.
Oh man, I don't know, and it's funny because the whole thing is sort of a lark for me because I'm not a filmmaker and I don't, so for me the whole experience has been really fun. And like Stephen Minnick from PBS, he did amazing documentary about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and Micah Ferris did a really cool documentary about 5 or 6 years ago, and they both won some awards, which was brilliant. And I can say that without any sort of I'm great, because it was their awards. Like the whole filmmaking is so much their art, and the one thing that I love about it is that I don't really have anything to do with it. So I'm like a fly on the wall. I'm there, and they're filming me and they're asking questions and stuff, but it's not my art. It's their art. They're putting together this, and they're telling a story through lots and lots and lots of images and sound, and and I usually work on one image for a long time, so the idea of so many frames a second blows my mind.
Yeah, I always think what blows my mind is the amount of footage that people take when they come film you, and that they can actually make sense of it all. So it's like, I mean, they're clearly sitting in a dark room for hours upon hours. Ryan, one of the filmmakers, he was talking about he was just in the studio for hours looking at footage, and it's like I can't even. I would lose my mind. I don't know where I'd begin.
Yeah. How in the world does anyone? Yeah. And it's funny, but I'm sorry, Owen. So I'm not sure how it's going to be released. All that was to say that I don't know, and I could have just said.
But I will say that when it's not in film festivals, isn't it on Vimeo? Like you can just watch it on Vimeo.
Well, you could, but once it was accepted in the film festivals, it was pulled. So now it could be distributed, or it could be, but there's like rules and stuff when it goes into a festival where you can't see it anywhere else. So right now it's going to festivals, and then soon hopefully.
Yeah. But I mean, as soon as we know something or there's a way to get it, I mean, we'll definitely put it out there for everybody to.
Yeah, man, and thanks so much for asking. And one of the cool things about it, though, one of the things I liked about it, and the reason I wanted to work with Lara and them, was that they paint disability in a very positive sort of way. So the story is sort of about me doing my art and all that, but it's much bigger, I think. I know that whenever I lost my eyesight, I was hearing about other people that had gone through some things, and it might not even have been visual. It might have been losing a parent or ending up in a wheelchair, or any sort of major crisis. And I would read about how other people dealt with it, and it helped me learn how to deal with what I was going through, which for a lot of that, oh my goodness, losing a parent or a child, I think what I went through was way easier. So seeing how people dealt with much greater stresses, I think helped me, and that seemed to be what Lara was trying to do. She wanted to put a very positive point of view out there, and it's just really cool.
That's like one of the things that you mentioned to Jeff Bridges about his films, and how there was a lot of chaos around them, but he always seemed to find the zen of it, or such a dude.
The dude. I was like, John, hey man, how you doing? Whenever I was talking to feel weird to say Jeff, but when I was talking to Jeff though about that, well, I don't know if it's his name, so what do you do? But
Mr. Bridges.
And then he's definitely too laid back for I don't know for that to feel right either. So anyway, J Dog, I guess, I don't know.
J Dog.
Yeah. No, but What was the question? What did you say?
No, just that
totally
you mentioned the zen-like nature of his characters
yeah.
in all his movies and how that was, like in amongst all the chaos and.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was it's one of the things I told him because he asked me in something like if I'd seen The Big Lebowski because we were talking about something and I was like, heck yeah, I'd seen it. And but so one of the cool things about it like that and like in his character in Tron and some other things was that it has this theme going through a lot of his movies where the character may be in the middle of things and there's all this stuff flying apart and whatever, but the guy is just floating through it. The main character, the protagonist, and even though stuff's crazy, he still finds this zen-like way of dealing with it. And I told him for me that it just resonated in a way, and I think for a lot of people with disabilities, it's the same sort of thing. You're trying to find that inner peace, that inner calm. Well, not just people with disabilities, but anybody really, but I thought it was interesting, how you had that in there. Everybody could be a little more like the dude, I guess.
So Nancy was giggling about what you said earlier, and she said, "Yeah, it's Nancy, the one who has the 3-panel painting. That's awesome."
Oh, thanks.
And then Owen said, "Been to Panama Canal recently. It was awesome. It was held on Island Princess."
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I'd love to go there. And then Richard said he wanted to see us in Santa Barbara, but it was bad timing.
Oh, man, sorry. Yeah, and I was there so quick. It was so silly. I mean, just, I don't know, it's such a beautiful place, and to go for a day, it's just shameful.
So, Nancy asked, how thick is the paint that you've laid down so far?
Here, sorry. Not very thick. It's actually really thin so far. And so far this is going to be a very thin painting. I might go in later and make it thicker. But I'm just trying to get it all covered up a little bit. Put down the underpainting, block it in. And but right now it's very thin. And you can see like it's dry. On the places where I haven't just painted, it dries almost instantly. And which is making it where I can go through and paint it. And I'm just sort of working around and around, letting things dry a little bit as I work. And one of the fun things, like I know last week we worked on a street with the trees, and there was a sort of a wet street, and we're working on a water painting now. And one of the reasons for that is because with some of this, like when it's very loose, like this is basically an abstract painting. It has a boat in it, but it's a music painting to me. So it's like a boat floating through music. But it's looser because the way notes can bend and the waves can go. You can do a painting like this a little bit faster, depending. If like if somebody had ordered a painting, if on a particular song, it'd be a lot slower because I'd be listening to the song, going note for note. But for this though, I'm going more with the feeling. I've had such a good week that I'm putting in colors, and I have music going in my head, and I'd play the music live, but apparently. Copyright infringement's a real thing, so you don't want to mess with that.
Yeah, they would kick us off the air for sure.
Yeah,
like they're quick.
They are. What's funny is they don't even kick you off, but it'll mute it.
Oh.
So suddenly it's just muted. It's like.
Well, and then they send you an email. It's like, oh.
Like yeah, but at least with the email, they're not saying you're in trouble. They're just saying look what you did. We're watching.
Yeah.
But. It's kind of funny.
So, Ellie from Germany says, greetings.
Well, greetings.
And my mom has joined Maryland.
Oh, my goodness. Well, it's good. Thanks for joining.
And Owen says, looks awesome. Great sunset.
Oh, thank you.
And some people are having buffering issues. I'm not sure if that's on our end or theirs.
Oh,
and Nancy asked, what song is playing in your head? Which is a good question.
It's going to sound crazy. I'm just going to work in Jeff Bridges as many times as I can. But that's what it sounds like. But I was one of the musicians that he recommended though was a musician called Moondog, and it was this guy. He lost his eyesight. He's this crazy guy. Like he'd met him on the street, and it was just this crazy sort of blind guy, like big bushy beard and all, and he called himself Moondog. He made all of his own instruments and like his own drums and stuff, and he would play them, but it was very jazzy, kind of think about Tom Waits, but this is like one of the people that inspired Tom Waits, that made Tom Waits like who he is, and and singing the way he sings and all this stuff. But this Moondog guy is blind, and he looks like a homeless person, and like he would come up to people and people would just be like, okay, that's cool. Like, he'd give him cards for, like, he was gonna play live and all this stuff, and but then though, like, he went to France or Germany. I want to say it was Germany, but and then he went over there and and that's when he got really big, and then like he died like immediately. But he would dress up as a Viking, and it was just like this blind, crazy. Just think of Tom Waits as this big hobo-looking guy dressed like a Viking named Moondog. But his music though is very jazzy and very different. So I have that going through my head, and I've got a little John Coltrane. The record player in Santa Barbara that I had, they had a record player in the room, and one of the records was John Coltrane. Oh my word! You got to be careful when you listen to the Coltrane. It'll drive you crazy. All the notes and the fervor and
Yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that John's been sort of on this record player kick because he bought a record player, a little record player suitcase. And it's like 70s orange classic, awesome. And so we of course dug out all the records out of and Nancy, you and Bill would appreciate this, or Bill would. We dug out all the records that we had in the back closet, and unfortunately, like 9 out of 10 of them are scratched. And of course, like there was really only one that wasn't scratched. And so of course now we're on some sort of like record kick and been going to some stores and stuff, and I am really surprised how expensive vinyl records are.
They are
kind of ridiculous.
It's kind of like if you want to travel, it's more expensive to go by train and it takes longer.
Yeah.
It's like if you want to listen to music, if you buy an LP, you're going to pay more, and it's going to, and it's a little nutty, it's different. You're not.
I mean, you definitely get a unique, sound from it, but
yeah,
it's pretty cool. I know. It's been fun.
But the whole thing started, though, from the last time we were in Santa Barbara for the film festival.
Yeah. Because
we stayed in the same hotel, and they had the record players, and I was thinking, oh, man, that'd be so nice to go on a picnic and be able to take, like, records and just play the music out in a park or somewhere and just have records playing and the music. So the record player I got, you can run it on batteries as well. And so I think that'll be cool. Whenever we go to New Orleans, we need to check out some record shops.
Nancy said, "Oh my gosh, that's what I got my son for Christmas. All our LPs are in excellent condition."
You're a good mom. Man.
So Owen said, "Speaking of music, on my cruise there was like this electric guitarist that was performing. Never got his name, but this guy was pretty awesome thinking about doing his portrait."
Oh, that would be cool.
That sounds awesome.
Oh man, and I'm not sure why that reminds me, but now in our studio the 3D printer is up and running.
Finally.
Yeah.
This
so
thing.
so I want to do a video one of these days showing how it works. We have the 3D camera, which is this huge scanning camera thing that. So one of these days we'll have to play around with that. But hey, has anybody chimed in saying that they're painting?
Not that I've seen. Not. Like, no, not directly with us. Just that maybe they were painting.
Well, I'm going to have all the fun then.
Nancy said they got rid of a lot of their LPs when they moved away from California, but she should have given them to us because we need more stuff.
We do. Yeah, that's one thing we need is more stuff. Either that or more, I don't know.
Evelyn doing art with John is...
Oh, doing art with John. Oh, that kind of makes sense.
And Owen said, that does make sense. They took photos of the guy, especially playing the guitar. He was wearing shades and wore a tie-dye shirt.
Oh, guys, and Owen, hope you don't mind if I say it, but Owen is a visually impaired artist as well, and he lives in Ohio. And man, definitely check out his art. It's so cool. It's nice to, I don't know, because usually when you say what you do for a living, people are like, what? And then it's nice that there's other people out there that do the same thing. They're just as crazy as I am.
Susie McLeavy said she's not painting this time, not prepared yet, but next time.
Oh, awesome.
And Nancy said she's thinking Goo Goo Dolls and John Bon Jovi for musical inspiration.
I was thinking like painting a Goo Goo doll, and I was saying, what would that be like? That would kind of be cool. That would be kind of cool. So I'm just going through, and I know this looks really random, but in my head I've got this idea mapped out of what I want to do. And so up towards the top, I have some dioxazine purple, and then more of a darker red, it's more of a medium cad. I said cab. I guess I have wine on the brain. And then there's a really bright pink, and this pink, it's crazy bright. It's UV reactive, and then
which pink is it in the painting? I've got a close up on it.
Oh well, here, let me see. It's this pink here.
Yeah.
But it's a UV reactive pink.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I've got some UV lights around here, and so I can show you. But it'll actually glow. So it's just really bright pink. But I found that the pinks and the yellows, especially like this yellow here, it's a deeper yellow.
Yeah.
That and the pink, they just like each other so much. And the light light yellow. I'm a big fan of yellow. I wasn't before, but when you're painting and you're using yellow makes purples pop like there is no tomorrow.
Yeah, they look great together.
And white, it'll work with white. Yellows will work with oranges. Yellows will work with reds. And if you have more of an orangey kind of yellow, it'll make blues pop as well. So you can cover an entire spectrum with yellows. And if you're tinting your artwork, you can give it a whole different look. You can give it more of a patina kind of look just by adding a little bit of yellow to it. If it's a thin wash, you got to be careful too, because it'll, if you do mix it with the blue, it'll turn green and all that kind of fun stuff. But it's fun. It's a good color.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, you told me yellow is your favorite color to paint.
Yeah.
So Owen said he did a portrait of Lou Gramm, formerly a Foreigner, and sent it to him.
Oh, cool.
And plus he did a portrait of Stevie Wonder. That one ended up being donated to the Beck Center of Arts in Lakewood, Ohio.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Super cool.
I heard about that. That is awesome. So, just painting along.
So, and Lisa Garnis Mallory is with us, and she said,
oh, hey, Lisa.
Your work is inspiring. It's making her try some new things with her etched photography. It's so cool. Fellow artists can inspire each other. She said she'll try painting next time. She said the cool thing about you is even in the midst of all your stardom, you're still such a humble, down-to-earth person. Hope you stay that way.
Thanks, I'm just great.
Well, I don't know. You Jeff Bridges is like first name basis over there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And don't you forget it. No, but and hope you don't mind me saying, Lisa, but man, if definitely check out Lisa's art too. You won't be disappointed. She does these she does photography, but then she takes the photos and then she goes back and she etches them. So it says etch plus photography all together. So you get this unique, really interesting combination of things going on that just sounds really, really cool.
Oh, so where are we here? Okay. My mom, Marilyn, said, John, do you buy UV paint already made up, or do you mix it yourself? And after you answer that, because I already know the answer, sort of, what could you mix it?
I buy it already mixed, and you can mix it yourself as well. You can buy a UV medium, and I would show it to you, but it's lost on the shelf over there. There's a million things on that shelf, and I was looking forward to show someone that was in here right before we went to Santa Barbara, and I know it's over there, but it's just a UV medium that you can mix in, so you can make whatever colors you want. The only bad thing with that is that it depending on how much of pigment that you add to it, it can reduce the glow of it. Where if you buy it pre-made, you can get UV inks, you can get UV paints, and they'll glow really brightly. And depending too on what you buy, there's some we're like the blue will hardly show up at all. So you have to be careful which ones that you buy and all that. Because some of them work really well and some of them don't. And you kind of have to play around with them just to see. But
you should tell them about the TED Talk that you did with UV paint. Like, because you did it, like, even though the paint looked clear, it was different colors.
Yeah, and I have that painting around here. It's I think it's right over there.
I don't have a UV thing though.
Oh, you know what?
Where are your flashlights?
You know, we brought a bunch of them back from Louisiana.
All right,
so not.
I'll look at them. Keep talking. I'll look at them.
We'll get this working. And actually, I have that giant, crazy UV light over there.
I know where they are.
But yeah, it's one of the fun things though, and you know so you can actually get this UV paint, UV ink that's clear until light hits it. So you can work on a painting and the painting not have any color until that light hits it, and then it'll sparkle. The only bad thing, like this sounds so cool, like you know you could do, like it'd be cool if you could do a really major sort of painting, but the only bad thing with it is that not all the colors really work that well with it. Like yellow works really well and pink works well, but you don't really get subtle shifts of color. So it just limits the sort of compositions that you can do.
Did you tell them about the TED Talk?
Oh no, that's right. I did a TEDx talk and in it I did a painting of an eyeball, and then the color in the eye was invisible until a UV light hit it. So then at the end of the talk, you know, we're talking about blindness and stuff and lack of vision. People think of it being a black and white world, but it's really a colorful world. It can be. You know, it's all about your perspective on things, about anything, of course.
Yeah, here I'll show it.
Yeah, and that's I actually a different one I did in Denton.
Oh, okay. Here, I'm gonna see.
The one.
That's right. It's sold.
The one that is, we have the TEDx.
I don't know if it'll show because it's. Well, it's probably not gonna show. But this is what it looked like, and it's all different colors.
If you want to, here, I can turn the lights down a bit.
It's a little wacky.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of a dim. Like I didn't use that much because I did that one kind of quick. It was at a live painting event. I was working on 2 paintings, and I was working on that painting really just while the other one was drying a little bit, so that wasn't just standing there the whole time. And so it doesn't quite pop as much as the one at the TEDx. But...
Well, and there's so many lights from the computers in front of me. That's really you can't see it.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, I think like I've got a couple paintings back here. Like I have this one of this girl.
There's a ton of light on you.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna say this has UV.
Yeah.
On it as well.
I'll next video, next Friday, maybe we could I don't know, do a segment or throw up an image or an example.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So Owen said about what we were talking about earlier. He said he's just trying to get his artwork out there, and he said any advice on that.
Yeah, Owen, man, and this sounds crazy. You know, I mean, it's weird being a visually impaired artist, and because one thing, I mean, whenever you say that you're visually impaired, people do take notice, and of course, notice can be good, but the only bad thing is that a gallery and places, it's basically a business, and they want to go with what's known and proven, which is why it's so hard for artists to get shows in galleries when they're first starting out, because they only want to show people that have shown in galleries. Well, how do you show in a gallery if they won't let you show in the gallery? If you had already showed so it makes it hard. Also, if you're visually impaired, if you're a visual artist, it doesn't even make sense. It's an oxymoron. So for a gallery owner who has to pay their bills every month, no matter whether or not the artwork in the gallery sells, that's a lot for them to wrap their heads around. So it kind of worked out that I wasn't really trying to get into galleries and stuff. And honestly, I'm taking the long way around to giving you some advice on this, but the reason is because I lucked into it, and I wish I could take credit saying, "Oh, I'm a genius about doing this." But whenever I first started painting, my health was really, really bad, and I was very depressed. And I was very angry. So the idea of showing my art and making a living with it wasn't really even an idea. Like it wasn't a concept because I was just very sick. And so I started working with nonprofits and charities, and I did small shows. And the small shows were to really meet other artists. I just wanted to meet people that were as obsessed with art as I was. So so I would do small shows, and I wouldn't tell people that I was blind because I just wanted to meet the other artists, and then later on it got out that I was visually impaired, and that led to some work with nonprofits and charities. And for me at the time, like I say, I wasn't thinking about an art career. I was just very angry, very depressed, not feeling great, and I would go and I would work with these nonprofits and charities, and it was just the greatest experience because even though I have a great family, I have great friends, I could travel across the country and hang out with this group at a nonprofit, people I'd never met before, but maybe they're dealing with autism, maybe they're dealing with Alzheimer's, maybe they have CP or something going on, but we relate, and so I feel like I'm just hanging out with all these great friends. It was just wonderful sort of experiences. And what I discovered too is that, really in a gallery, the reason that you show in a gallery is to get your artwork out there, obviously. It's the gallery's job, supposedly, to like have some media attention, to do whatever they can to get people in the door. Well, for a nonprofit or charity that are trying to make good things happen in their city, they are doing the exact same thing. So they'll have galas, they'll have functions, they'll have conventions, they'll have all these different events where they do the same work that a gallery does, and they try to get people to come there. Well, I started working with a lot of nonprofits, like doing demonstrations and things just for fun, just because I liked it. But then, it turns out, you're getting your name out there, and people are seeing your name in a very positive kind of way, and you're having a blast doing it. And then you start getting some work, and you think, oh, that's funny. That's kind of a lark. How'd that happen? And then you keep working with places that you just really like, and your name keeps getting out there. So, and I know that's a long way around the barn to get to the answer, but one of the best ways I think for an artist, whether you have a disability or not, is to do work in your community. If you have a theater that's in your community, if you have, if there's a nonprofit, if there's a charity, and you can do live painting demonstrations. And the wonderful thing about that is that you're adding so much to that event. It makes it more interesting, I think, for people to go to a convention or if they go to some sort of fundraiser, and there's an artist over in the corner. Maybe they're painting, maybe they're doing sculpture, maybe they're doing, whatever it is they're doing. It's interesting, and you go over there and you can chat with them, and it's fun to watch. And so you're adding a lot to that event, and you're making it more special. And then, for your career, it's actually good too. So, does that make any sense, Jackie?
Yeah, I think
You can probably add a lot more than that.
We talked about, in fact, we made a video of this exact question. We just haven't posted it yet.
I was going to say, yeah.
But, another thing that we talked about was that a lot of the museums in your town will have, they have barely enough funding a lot of times as well. So any volunteer work that a person can do is great, or your perspective about your experience with art and bringing that to them and then turning that into an experience for their patrons. Mm-hmm. And, they love, especially if they can write a grant that's attached to it. So I know for John, like, we do a ton of workshops where, we try to accommodate for, all sorts of different people, but in doing that, you're creating this sort of community involvement for the museum/gallery. And I mean, at least my experience from interning at galleries is that the majority of their funding comes from grants, and grants usually are attached to how well are you involved in the community. And if you can, like, volunteer to do workshops or, brainstorm ideas so that they can make any of that sound better, then you've got a foot in the door. And, then you're surrounding yourself with those types, the art types, and, things kind of lead to another, they know people, and all that. So, I mean, that's been part of our experience, at least, I'd say.
Let's step out of frame while you're talking.
It's all about me. So, I don't know. It can be brutal, but, I mean, just surround yourself with those people, and then, volunteer and work with the community and all that if you're not, following the academic route, which is, a portfolio that you're soliciting everywhere, which is what I did when I was in school. It was, that's what they told you to do, and that is the hardest road to pave.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, and I'm so glad that you mentioned the museums, Jackie, because That's so good. You know what's funny? Like with the portfolio, like we've had over 70 shows or so. I was counting, and it's ridiculous. And we don't really apply for shows. Like we're going to start doing that because, it's a good idea. And there's certain shows we want to do. We want to do some really, really cool things. Some that we've never done before. And so I'm really excited about that. But it's interesting. I mean, every artist out there has a portfolio. Every artist is approaching galleries in roughly the same way. So, it's interesting, having this approach where you go to a museum. And Owen, if you were, if you're applying at a gallery that you want to get in, you want to be represented by that gallery, you want to be one of their stable of artists. Well, if you have some museum work on your resume, it looks really good.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It looks, and you can have a lot of fun doing it. A lot of times, museums will have what they call creative corners or creative spots or studio programs where they'll have artists actually teach workshops, and those are a great way to get your foot in the door at a museum, and because they need artists to be able to run these things, and so and you don't have to, if you thought, well, I've never taught art before. I mean, maybe it's your thing, maybe it's not, but a lot of these workshops, it could just be taking a tour through, taking a group through the museum and talking about art and then going back into to the studio and doing some different exercises and doing some different things. We do about 30 different workshops. I was adding up one day. I was trying to write them all down and then I thought, oh, this is taking too long, so I stopped doing it. But it was ridiculous. But there's a ton of different things you can do, and the cool thing is that museums, the people that work that and the people that are working in these creative areas in the museum, they want connections with the artists in their community, and they want to help you out, and they want to make their museum better than the next museum that's down the street, and but it makes it nice. It makes an interesting way for you to actually get your foot in the door in a museum and start working with them.
Yeah.
And I want to say this year, I think we're going to be working with 7 or 8 so far.
Yeah. Very good.
And and it's still early in the year. Like usually they start coming out later.
So Evelyn, doing art with John, it wants to know if Jack is painting.
Right now.
Tony down the feed, I haven't made it all the way down, but which is sort of a follow up to that, asked if we've ever blindfolded Jack like we do in the other workshops, and how he his reaction was to that. So
I don't think I've ever blindfolded yet, have I? But I'm going to. I'm doing.
Well, I was gonna say Jack, because a lot of people ask us this: is Jack as artistically inclined as John or us or whatever? And I always joke about the fact that I think we are going to end up with the Alex Keaton of us, and he will be a mathematician, not the artist, but I mean he can draw a mad SpongeBob.
Yeah,
I will say that.
He's really creative.
He's super creative. But I think his brain works more along the engineering, which is still building and creative, but he's got the technical thing going on. You don't find him just smearing paint on the walls, or never, it wasn't like that. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's not. But he ever since when he was a baby though, I'd put him in his diaper and put a drop cloth down and let him go crazy in the studio, and so I think he's always had access to that. So he's always been. I mean, to him, anytime he wants to paint, he can paint. So I think for him, growing up is normal. When he was a baby, just able to barely walk, he'd have a paintbrush in his hand, and so I think for him that doesn't seem that strange, so he does seem like he's exploring other things.
Yeah.
But he does a ton of art though. He's currently making a comic book.
Yeah.
So he's always drawing something. He's always making something, but which is really cool.
So Lisa Buell said, hi Lisa from Santa Barbara. Sorry I missed you chiming in for the first time. So not painting, but totally enjoying watching, learning, and listening to you both. I'll definitely paint next time.
Oh, that's cool. Well, thank you, Lisa. It made me think of a talk radio thing first time listener, first time caller, whatever. Long time listener, first time caller, I guess is what it is.
You listen to enough NPR, that's definitely constantly. And Diane McKinnon, good evening, John. Patty here from Wax Dreams, watching from Ontario, Canada.
Oh,
I love
Ontario.
watching your process. Amazing.
Man, Ontario, good Lord. I've never been to Ontario. I love Canada.
Toronto was awesome.
Yeah, Toronto is
Been there.
Yeah, but Ontario, one day. I've heard it's so different, than Toronto, and I've been to Toronto a few times, I guess, but I love Canada. Can't wait to get back up there.
I'm curious what Wax Dreams is.
Yeah.
Patty, if you're listening still, chime in and let us know what Wax Dreams is. If it's like your art or store or what. I'm curious.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it sculpture? Or is it candles? Is it?
I don't know. It sounds cool.
Yeah, it could be a lot of different things, couldn't it?
So Patrick France says, "Oh man, I've been racking my brain trying to achieve those vibrant colors that you get. UV paint."
Yes. Oh, and hey, Patrick, too. If you paint in acrylics, I have a tip. Here, let me show you. With acrylics, if you want to thin the acrylics down, so like if you have a red light like this one here, and you want to thin it down, well, you would normally just add water or some sort of like clear medium to it. But if you instead, if you use some artist ink, you can thin it down just like water, but the pigment level stays up. It might even be more pigment, and it's a lot of fun. And you can mix. You can get some really interesting tints going on. You can.
That's a great. Yeah.
Oh.
Do you ever use powdered tints?
I do a little bit, and that's kind of fun, like, especially with resin. And if you're playing around with resin, you can use the powdered tints, and you can do some things where you can hit the resin with a heat gun, and it'll freeze it, so you can get some of the powder to dissolve and some of it to not. Cool. And it's fun. It's like painting with glass, but it takes forever to dry. Well, no, it depends. It gets really hot when it dries. But every brush that you use when you use resin is the last time you'll ever use that brush.
Sharon Bolduff says, "Hi, John. I know you can tell what color is what by texture, but have you ever thought about adding scents to your paints, or has somebody already marketed that?"
Oh, that's a good thought. I do that sometimes if I'm working with children with autism, and sometimes adults with Alzheimer's, if we're painting. And it may sound, it's interesting, especially the children with autism. There's some like they don't want to get sticky, they may not want to get their hands dirty. They're not really excited, and then they smell the paint, and then they start painting, and it's I think and I've also used it with children who are visually impaired. The only bad thing about the scent is that, well, the good thing is that like I have a red right now. It's like it's cinnamon or whatever. It would be great. But whenever you start to mix the colors in together, it's really hard to gauge how much of one paint is mixed in with another by the scent. Whereas if you mix it by texture, your hands are really good at being able to determine viscosity. So if I just put a little bit of one paint in with another, it still changes the way the texture feels. So that's kind of why I've stuck with the texture. But man, there is definitely some use out there for paints that have a fragrance to them, and it's incredible. And it's a cool thing about art too is, it's all about what you can do, and it's all about what actually gets the job done. So.
Yeah, I think that concept of putting scents in the paints is super interesting. I know that there was this one artist that I heard about a couple of years ago, and he did. I mean, it was an installation piece, but he did this. It was multi-sensory, and he did this exhibit of this giant, it was like a cherry. You walked into this enormous room with a giant cherry blossom tree or something in it, but all the cherry blossoms were infused with peppermint scents. Mm-hmm. And so when you walked in, it was like this overwhelming peppermint smell or something, and it created just this wacky reaction from viewers. Like some were enthralled, and some people started tearing up and had to leave. All this sort of and it was interesting, the concept of creating a space that overtakes all your senses, and you have to, you just it's overwhelming. You can't. It takes over so much of your body in a sense. I think that, I don't know. I love installation art.
That's a good one. Oh, I've got a question, and I apologize. This is off the subject, but I was wondering how long do we have? How long?
It's exactly 8:00.
8:00. Okay.
So Christine Harding chimed in on Facebook and said she's painting along.
Oh, awesome,
She
Christine.
couldn't comment on YouTube, but she's here. And it doesn't look anything like yours, but what the hell? She's having fun.
Awesome. That's cool.
So I'm kind of curious. Anybody that does paint along, if they would send us images, we'll share it. Like,
Yeah,
if they're
yeah.
cool with that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, that's a great idea. Yeah, if you wanted to share it, we could share it on a the Twitter and the Facebooks and all of that stuff, and put that out there, and on the website too. Could definitely end up putting a gallery. You have to figure that out. I was wondering though, because I've worked on this for an hour, but I'm wondering, guys, if I don't finish this painting within the time allotted. Last week I just finished it up after, and then I posted the picture on Facebook. Would you rather I did that, or would it be better if like if we're painting along and if I finish it up next time, or is it better to start a new painting? Whatever. So I don't know. It's whatever you guys want to do. I'm down for it all.
Yeah, let us know, man. Every week we seem to be changing something constantly.
Yeah. Well, of course this is just a second, but yeah.
Owen says Joanne DePolo is pretty awesome. She has her own gallery, and he's been painting under her for 4 years now. She's taught him a lot, and he agrees with you, yes. I'm not quite sure what specifically about, because it was a while ago.
I have a question. And this is for you, Jackie, and anybody else that knows video games and stuff. Okay, so we're doing a type chat right now. Yet most children playing Xbox or something, have headsets and they're chatting away with a whole bunch of other kids, using crazy language that's coming through the speakers sometimes and whatnot. But I mean, I'm wondering, so why is it that we're like having to type? Do you think, like, is there a way that we could get like a live chat where somebody could just talk to their computer and go like, yada yada yada?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And why not? What's up with that?
Well, I mean, I don't know. We to be honest with you, because we spent 45 minutes trying to work out the audio of this, so I wouldn't expect any viewer to do that and tune in at the same time. So it was.
Well, I'm saying, you know how you have like FaceTime and all those different things. That seems like there ought to be.
Well, the quick answer to that is Google Hangout, but that doesn't open it up to like I guess everybody. You can't like post a. I don't know how it works. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. And I was looking at some of that stuff because you can get like some. Because I was wondering, there's some places online where it's like a webcast. It's like if you have a college, you have classes, you can all the students can go and use the service, and then everybody can chime in. But it's very closed though, and it doesn't work everywhere, and it's where the reason I started the YouTube channel is because even if the chat doesn't work here or there, we can all get on Facebook, and YouTube goes everywhere. So that
YouTube does.
So everywhere. I don't right now that seems to be the best thing, but. There might be something better out there. We tried Ustream last week. It was nice. People had trouble with chat. It sounds like some people are still having trouble with chat, though.
I don't know. This week is an improvement. I will say this. We have multiple cameras. Regardless, but that's been better. Yeah. Nancy said live painting at a polo match ?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on horseback though, right? Is that
no.
With the easel and all my God? Because
no, that is not happening.
Well, the last time I was on a horse like 5-6 weeks ago, it bit me and tried to throw me off a mountain.
Yeah.
But
No.
I don't blame it.
But that would be awesome. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I should own a big hat for that situation.
Oh yeah. I've got a big hat. I don't know if that's really like a cowboy hat sort of situation.
I would say Owen chimed in. He said, "Oh yeah, he's dealt with some nonprofits like the Cleveland Sight Center, National Federation of the Blind, and National Beep-Based Bail Association. I'm not sure if that's in correlation with the beep that we work with, but that's cool.
Yeah, but I bet it's an Easter egg sort of thing.
Or maybe, and then museums maybe next." He said.
Well, that's awesome, Owen. Yeah, it's and the big thing, I know this is always hard. They always say, to go slow and all, but man, it's so true.
Yeah.
It's where like you just build up some contacts and it's not like we're like huge in the art world, it's not like we know everything about it, but it is incredible though to see what kind of works and what doesn't, and also what's out there and what you want to be a part of, like. there's some really interesting galleries that are out there that are really hoity-toity, and I'm not a hoity-toity kind of person. And when I go into the gallery, I'm thinking like, they're selling their artwork for a lot of money, and it's a crazy amount of money. But these aren't the kind of people I mean, they're not bad people, but it's not the people that usually hang my artwork in their homes. It's not the people. I mean, I don't. It seems like people that have connected with my artwork in the past, and I meet them in real life, like we're instant friends. It's like we've known each other for years, and it's just the way it's always happened, and that's the way I like it, and it's cool, and I love that, and it's this connection. But you see some of these galleries, and there is no connection. you don't have any of that at all, and I've been in some galleries like that, and you hear, oh, well, the painting sold, and you're thinking, oh, yay, the painting sold, and they sold another painting, and they're like, you ask them, well, who's the buyer? And they're like, oh, that's on the buyer's list, or whatever. We don't, it's all very so removed. You have no idea where the painting really went. Even if you ask them, it's still kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I like this. Like, I like us being able to talk, in person, but this, I don't know. So it's kind of cool. If you take your time with your art, too, you kind of find out the places you like, the places you want to be. But that said, though, we do want to do some bigger shows. I want to do some really cool, full sensory experiences with art that are just so much fun. And so we're looking to expand that, to get into some bigger places, I guess.
Yeah.
We've been into some places, but I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I want to have full control over it, though, instead of being in a gallery where you do certain things. Because there's some sensory things we want to do, which are going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, because I know 2 hours is a long time. So let me mention, for the live streaming, we are working towards like having some really interesting live streaming events where we can pair food, we'll pair drinks, we'll talk about that. We'll have a professional hoity-toity sort of bartender come in that. Like he can make any drink ever. Like you want a certain daiquiri from the 20s. You want this. You want that. He'll tell you all the elements in it, and we'll pair that with a certain style with music, and live models. So so we'll actually be able to work. So it'll be a full full sensory kind of deal, and I'm so looking forward to that. We're hoping in a month, because we're going to travel quite a bit. So we're going to keep doing live ones, but we're going to start doing this. I don't know what to call it. Maybe we can all come up with a cool name for it. But you know how you can go and do a sip and draw or a sip and paint sort of thing, and you have a bottle of wine. You could sip, you could paint. You watch other people painting, and everybody's having a really good time. I thought, why don't we do that? And of course we're not all in the same room, but we can still have fun. We can still do that. And I thought, well, if we're doing that, why not kick it up a notch? I mean, why not actually have some live models? So I was thinking about maybe doing like a 20s, like a flapper theme, So we could have some people in flapper costumes and figure out some music we could play if we don't get slapped with the music injunction or something like. You play the music. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have to close you down. So we'll have to work that out, or might be able to have somebody play some live music. I don't know. But anyway, just something for fun, just something kind of cool, something different, because it's fun to go to a place and see a live event like that, but it's hard to get out sometimes. It's hard to get to that place, but when we can do it right here too.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's something that we thought about. If anybody has any interest in that, let us know. I mean, if you think
or any themes, because we've come up with like we could do like a 20s one or a burlesque one or something like that. Any themes that people would like to see, man, we could totally make happen.
That's true.
So my mom chimed in and said, when you are at the Special Arts Festival, if anybody would like to come on March 19th, that would be cool, and paint with you. That's right. I can't believe it's almost time for the Special Arts Festival again. Yeah. It's just it just sneaks up on you. But anybody that's in Garland and in the whole Dallas DFW area, we have this festival in Garland that we'll put it up on the site and Facebook it. And we may have a live stream going from there. All that. So, that would be awesome. But it is the coolest thing. It is so much fun. And Marilyn Siri put this together, and she is so brilliant. And she works so hard in everything she does. But this event, though, she was inspired by an event in Shreveport, Louisiana, called Art Break, where
where the entire city comes together for this thing. So all these kids are making art. It's very pro disability awareness. We did it for years. We haven't done it in a while because now it's on the same weekend as Arts and Jazz here in Denton. You know, we got to support local, so we're there quite a bit. But Marilyn, though, she went to this event, was so inspired by it. You know, most people would go to a thing like this, and that's it. You know, say, oh, this is really cool. It'd be nice if we had something like that where we're from. She goes home and she makes it. So she actually makes this event. And is this the 6th year?
Oh, no, this is the 9th. I think next year is the 10th. This is the
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I'm so bad with time, apparently. Oh, no, it's been around 50 years. But no, that's incredible. So, and it's just, it's so cool. So we'll post some information about it. But she made this happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's an event where there's a lot of different tables with different activities, and it's geared towards mainly special needs children, adults. They have performances. They have anywhere from like dance things. There's this one girl, I can't remember her name, which is horrible, but she does this. She does sign language to songs that are just beautifully moving and all that. And anyway, so you know, it's fun to bring the kids there, disability or not, and then you can do different activities at tables, and there's different accommodations. There's also different resources for the parents to just kind of get insight on. So it's a good event.
And the acts are amazing. Like, you know, like there's acts that are children, but there's also professional singers, and so they come there and sing, and it's you know, it's so much fun. It just, you know, you just feel so good when you're there. That it's a blast. And I can't believe it's almost around again.
Yeah. So Evelyn doing art with John says that we want you in Ontario.
Oh.
And Virginia is watching from Uruguay, and she's gonna paint next time.
Hey, oh, that's awesome, man. Well, if anybody wants to paint, if there's anything I can do to help, like, you know, if putting the sketch out there, was that useful? Did it help at all? or if there's any topics that you guys want to paint, anything you want to work on, you know, let me know. And Ontario, I'm down. It doesn't. You don't have to twist my arm too much to get me up to Canada.
And Evelyn said painting just got better. Her daughter brought her some ice cream, so all her senses are into this painting now.
Oh, you've got a good daughter. So, in my painting, as you can tell, I'm putting in some weird highlights. I'm mixing a titanium white with a cerulean blue, and I just love the way those two put together. There's some color combinations I just can't get away from. I just love them so much. And one of them is titanium white, cerulean blue, and one of the reasons for that is because if you mix those two colors on oils, it feels a lot like Jackie's arm, like her skin. So, yeah, I don't know. So I always like that. So whenever I use those two colors, I always think of Jackie. But it isn't the same in acrylics. It doesn't feel like that. In acrylics, it kind of still feels like acrylics, but thicker, thinner acrylics, depending. And I think I probably have paint on my glasses. I keep touching my face.
You can't really see anything that close. So Sharon says personally, she likes the idea of starting a new painting every week and then seeing your finished product after the chat.
Well, cool. You know, I'm glad you said it, Sharon. Because it would be really hard for me to put a painting up for an entire week before I could work on it again. I'm not sure how good I'd be at doing that because eventually it would get done. And I've had some problems with that with the nonprofits or a charity if I'm going to donate a painting, but because of the time limit, maybe I'm going to start the painting beforehand, and it's really hard for me to stop painting and not just keep doing it. So there's been a couple of times where, you know, I just had to force myself to stop.
So Patrick says thanks. His wife has a bunch of those inks, so and that she hasn't touched in years. So thanks for the advice. Cool. And Nancy said, "Did I mention the polo match was at a vineyard?"
Wow. Well. Wow. So that's gonna make me. It's gonna be really hard for me to paint on horseback.
Oh.
with all the wine.
Yeah.
This can get interesting quick.
So, and Tony said you could call in with a speakerphone. So to answer the whole like how can we chat?
Oh, that's a good idea.
The speaker, but it could be a good idea your experience with a speakerphone on the board of the guide dog school has been questionable.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It could be a little crazy, but that's a really good idea. I have who came up with that idea? Richard? Tony, man, that's a good idea. Maybe we could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could try that out and see how how it would work, because and two, it helps. There's lots of people who may. I mean, I think it might help with disability too. If there's certain disabilities, it might be easier to call in on a phone than it is to type or to do some other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, because
we'll have to.
Because having to deal with YouTube and the chat on YouTube, I'm not sure how much adaptive technology
Yeah.
works with that. I'm so new to it. I just don't know. I mean, I know it works with the screen reader I use, but then, it just depends on where you are and what you're doing. But
Nancy said your Virginia rep is ready to book it.
Oh, nice.
She's the Virginia rep.
Nice, man. I love Virginia. We're going back out into Virginia. When is that? Do you know?
June. Roanoke.
And then we're going in the fall too, aren't we?
Yeah, November.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got to get with Nancy about all of that. That would be fun.
Man.
Owen says, have you ever heard of Jeffrey Owen Hansen? He's another visually impaired artist that I looked up. He's like painting for a lot of organizations like Childhood Cancers. Have you ever heard of him?
Gosh, he sounds familiar. I'm so bad with names, but that does sound familiar. It really does. What is it, about 820, 825 maybe?
816.
816? Hey, well, that's pretty close with the first guess.
So Susie said she's got the painting "A Walk in the Rain" hanging in her massage therapy studio.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you.
She would so attend, which I assume is referring to our live streaming of the.
You're gonna paint all over it. I feel like I'm wiping it all over my face. I don't know if I am. Bah. Well, that'd be cool. Man, so yeah.
So Lisa said that she's found that a lot of musical artists will give permission to play if you're not earning income on it. It's free marketing. Which, I mean, yeah, we've talked about that before, and
yeah.
I mean, part of it is like when you have a YouTube channel and you just list it as monetary, you're willing to make money off of the random like ads that they throw up there. That instantly will flag you for anything on there. So ours is listed as monetary just because. Why wouldn't you? And, and so I mean, I don't even know how that would.
Yeah, and
I don't even know how that would work.
We have it listed for that too, though. So there's a we're not sure what we're going to be able to do in the future, but we might be able to do some benefits and things. And we work a lot with charities, and there might be a way we could do a charity benefit that's wireless. That we're streaming it in, and if people want to donate to that particular cause or something, then they might be able to do it. So we're trying to keep the options open for, if we're working with a nonprofit in the future, and, to be able to, raise money for that. And because I donate a lot of paintings for different places, and we're always trying to look for the way, like if you donate a painting, you're giving the painting, 100% of the money is going to the nonprofit. So you want as much money, you want them to be able to raise as much money as you can, so they get they're the biggest bang for their buck. They're able to really do something with that. And one way might be to have it available online as well. So I don't know, it's just a big it's that's a good idea though about the artists. So
well, and and speaking of that whole like biggest bang for your buck, you should talk briefly about like your experiences with your art and when it's auction, raffle.
Yeah, well, of course, the last one was raffle, and we thought that was going to be kind of crazy, and it turned out to be huge.
Yeah, I guess you just never know, but it can be.
Yeah.
It can be pretty questionable when.
Yeah.
When I hate to say it, but it can be questionable when the nonprofit's like, we're just going to throw this in the mix, and instead of being, instead of getting a auctioneer that can sell it or knows the backstory. You know, I mean, like, it can be questionable. So.
Yeah, that's
If
true.
there's a situation where you get involved in a museum with a nonprofit with your art because you're trying to get out there, then you want to definitely have some sort of input on how is this raising money for you, because your hard work has been put into it. So let's get the most bang for the buck as a nonprofit, you know.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, like this year, like in the last 6 months, 7 months, had a painting go at a nonprofit for 10,000, and then a similar painting somewhere else, it was like 1,000, and then the only difference, of course, was the way that was the way that it was handled, and all, and of course the crowd and all. I mean, there's some places you're going to work with, and you're not going to have as many people, and there's not going to be a crowd that are buying art. But that's a good point. I mean, and you want to make sure that that they're able to raise as much money as they need. And it's hard a lot of times for charities and nonprofits, because a lot of times, I mean, they don't have a lot of money usually. I mean, they're not working for the money; they're working for the cause, and which means that if they're doing an art event, they don't usually have people on there that have gone that have spent a career thinking about how to sell art, how to raise money for their cause using art for this. And so it's nice to be able to go in sometimes and offer suggestions, like, because for us, it doesn't cost us any more. I mean, we're donating the painting. We just want it to, we want them to walk away and think like, oh my goodness, this turned out to be a really good sort of thing. And,
so Owen says you need to put your artwork on tour. And Evelyn said, thank you for putting up the sketch before the event. It made her feel like she was more prepared, less scared to start painting. P.S. I agree with Sharon about a new painting each time.
Oh, cool, guys. Thank you.
And then Evan said, ever heard of Fine Art America? It's a great website as far as networking and putting your artwork out there.
Really?
I have a homepage there, and I think it mentioned it on Facebook a lot. So.
Oh, cool.
So it's called Fine Art America.
Well, I'm going to have to check that out. Thank you so much for sharing.
Tony also said you could use the call-in feature on Facebook. And she...
I sound like I don't know anything about call-in? Like with a telephone? It's like the Facebook?
So...
is that like Jitter? I don't know. Or Twitter? Tweet? Let's tweet. Really? The call-in feature. How would that... So is it like... I'm going to sound so dumb. It's like Skype sort of, except it's a Facebook driven app.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's usually when you're logged into because everybody's like 24/7 usually logged into Facebook, and so you'll get a call and then you're kind of forced to talk to them face to face, which is
that's a good idea. That's a really, really good idea. And we could do both.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the trick is working out
whatever's easiest for people.
The feedback and all that, but yeah,
that's true.
Feedback would be horrendous. Like I don't even know, because that was part of the issues earlier. If anybody chimed in 30 minutes before we started this, we had the live feed going, but it was like the feedback was just this sort of weird cycle where we were caught in this.
It was fine for a while. It was nothing, and then suddenly,
of messages that were. It was nuts. So yeah,
it was out of the blue, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to do some research, but those are good suggestions. So thank you.
So right now, whoever for down here on the canvas, you can see I'm putting these light colors, and the reason is because I want to have more of an atmospheric sort of effect with the music that I want to put down. So I'm putting this and then the paint, but the colors from the music, and then. So it's going to have more color that goes over the white. So right now I'm just putting the white to lighten it up a bit, so that when I put the other color over it, which is probably going to be a wash, then it's going to change it. And I'll do the wash here in a minute, so that you can see how to do that. And the great thing about painting too is that you can go to school, you can get degrees in art, you can read books and videos and all this stuff, and it can seem very difficult. And a lot of the books that you read, they'll say things like, well, you've got to do it this way. This is the way to do it. Or you set up your palette, you've got to set it up this way. And they're very insistent. Like kind of like you're going to break art if you do it any other way. Like, oh, you broke art. Oh no. But what's funny is that every time you find somebody that's so insistent about a certain way of doing something, you can always find another book that says the complete opposite, and they're just as adamant. I think that's so funny. But the main thing about art is just, you're taking sticky stuff and you're putting it on something that's going to hold it. The paint doesn't really matter. It's, it's the expression. It's what you're doing. So whatever you need to do to make it work. And to be honest, I don't even think it's about the finished product. I don't think that. I mean, I think if you threw away your painting at the end, don't throw away your painting, but if you did, the biggest benefit though was from the actual act of painting. Who cares what it looks like at the end? I mean, we all care, but the actual benefit from it though, the feelings, the growth comes from the actual doing. So anyway, that's my soapbox for the day.
So Dennis Kuhn and James Westick are tuning in and they're watching from because we know them. They're tuning in, watching from a bar.
I was gonna say, which bar are they at?
While you're doing your thing. James is wondering when we're gonna pass the whiskey around at Andy and Sam's with you, Mr. Big Time. Congrats on your success.
Oh, thanks, man. Well,
you're quite the inspiration.
Oh, well, thanks. Well, hey, cheers, guys. Man, soon you know what?
You should talk about like some of the when we go camping, like how you paint, like what do you do?
Yeah, well, and also, James Dennis, we're in New Orleans next week. You guys should come down.
Yeah, apparently Andy and Sam already got plans, so bring it.
It's gonna be fun. I paint with some kids. Oh yeah, camping is a blast. It's so much fun to paint and camp, to do stuff. But it's whenever I go in camp and I paint, it's always a good excuse to be able to try some new things, because you're having to. I mean, like if you're painting from your house, if you're painting from a studio, your apartment, you're out of your paint box, wherever it is that you normally paint. You're used to using certain materials and things, and whenever you pack to go like on a kayak trip or a camping trip or a load in the van and go drive to the Grand Canyon sort of trip, yeah. Whatever it is that you're doing, you have to select different things. So, and it's a great time to be able to experiment and have fun, because you're just out, you're there, and it's and you're relaxed is the main thing. So your mind is a little bit on vacation. So you're not as judgmental maybe as you normally would be, and it's okay to take some extra risks. So whenever I go camping, I'll usually take some paintings that I want to get done, that I'm excited about, that I want to work on there. But I also take some other things that I've never worked with before, and I've got drawers full of this stuff that I've taken, like some pastel sort of giant marker kind of crayon waxy sort of things, and oil bars, and which I use this stuff from time to time, but it's just it's a good excuse to be able to play around.
So Tony had a good question. Do you ever get emotionally attached to a painting or a particular painting? What was it like?
I get a little attached to most of my paintings, but it's kind of a weird thing. Like I love to write, and it seems like if you write a story, you write a story with the idea that someone's going to read that story, it doesn't seem like you've really finished the writing until it's been read and appreciated or understood or rejected or whatever. But like you haven't really finished it until it's done that, because it's a big part of it. And with a painting for me is a message, it's a communication. So until the painting goes out there in the big bad world, I don't really feel like it's done. So I do get a personal connection, but I want it to go out there. I want it to get out in the world. I want people to see it, for better or worse. And but usually the paintings I have the most connection with are the ones that I'm working on. Although it's fun, it's kind of like I've got this poster of Al back here, because when I had the actual painting here, I would like in the morning I'm like good morning Al, good night Al, and just be able to do. Which is cool. And then
that's, the first sign of crazy, right?
Yeah. Well, he never talked back. That's the thing. If he talked back, then that'd be something. That's definitely crazy. But and also Bob Marley. I did a painting of Jimmy Hendrix too, and I was like, "Good morning, Jim." So yeah, but I have Al back there, and one of my favorite quotes came from Albert Einstein. He said, "Imagination is more important than intelligence." And,
No, Einstein is still alive?
No. This is Jack. Hey, Jack, you want to say hi? Oh yeah, you can say hi to my mom. That's right.
You can say it. Come here.
Oh, go. So
Hi.
it was pajamas pajama
It
day.
was pajama day at school. What up? Cause it's what? Dr.
We got
Seuss.
Dr. Seuss's birthday this weekend.
Oh, well, it's your birthday next Wednesday.
Daddy.
Mhm.
Can you? I really want you to draw a pic. I really want you to paint me a painting of Cat in the Hat.
Ooh,
Oh, wow,
that's
what
a
a
great
great-
idea.
What an interesting idea. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. I'll paint you a painting of Cat in the Hat if you'll paint a painting for me of Cat in the Hat. We can trade our Cat in the Hats.
So Lisa said about what we were talking about earlier with the galleries. It's so true. They're leery about selling new types of work that and any new artist work, not just visually impaired.
Yeah.
She's having the same issue with galleries, and they take so much of, and this is true, they take so much of, a percentage of it.
Yeah. It's a funny thing, Lisa, and Lisa shows in Colorado, which is beautiful and brilliant, but it's it's so true about they take 40 to 50%, and it makes sense whenever you think about them having to pay the rent. They're supposed to be putting out information to the media, and they're supplying all the stuff for you, and of course they're taking the risk too. Like they're paying their rent, they're paying the utilities, they're doing all this different stuff, and they're paying it if one of your paintings sells or not, or if you sell out, or if you only sell one painting, or whatever it is. It's so it kind of makes sense. They're taking a lot of the risk, but it's funny though. I mean, like now, like with the art the way it is, like for our art, huge majority, huge percentage of it, but probably a majority of our sales are international, and it makes it hard for us to work with a gallery because they're not really. I mean, it's hard. The promotions don't really, whatever they promote on a local sort of scene doesn't really help as much on certain things. But it's
we've definitely run into that because when you've worked with galleries and one of their first questions is, can we have your list of collectors? And we have sort of a list, but they're so all over the U.S. and so like out of the country that if you're at a local gallery like in Dallas, they're not coming to that show. Like they're only going to do online sales. So
yeah, and
it's difficult for. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that scene with the gallery world and how that works because I assume major big artists are the same way, but I don't know how.
Yeah,
how they make for example.
I don't want to bug them either, It's like, I mean, I hate bugging them for you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't know. It's awkward. It's all kinds of awkward. But it was, like we just did a fundraiser at the Craighead Green Gallery, and it's a beautiful space, and the artwork was just gorgeous, and of course, and we're walking around this gallery, and the art. There was one piece there that was $19,000, and it was like. How did I don't know,
it's just
wow.
Yeah, wow.
What did that person do that is now propelled into the $19,000 market? That's awesome, but at the same time it's like I don't know, it just seems kind of nutty. And how wide is their market?
Yeah.
And how I guess maybe that gallery does online. I don't know, I'm sure they've got some super PR going on.
Yeah, they've been there a while.
Well, yeah, and they're well known and all that. So, the artists. There was a couple of artists. There was Tracy Harris. I loved that work, and there was another artist there that did. It looked like origami. What were they? Doves? Origami cranes.
Oh, the steel?
Yeah, out of steel.
Metal? Yeah.
It wasn't. It looked like paper, but they shaped it out of steel, and they like painted it, whatever, white, and anyway, it was gorgeous, of course, and so, it was, beautiful art, obviously.
So, yeah, it is hard though, but and it's funny because like the art market is changing so much, like from the brick and mortar to where there's so much online sales that it's, you don't really know. And then even art festivals where I think in the past a lot of people would sort of turn their nose up at art festivals, but there's certain ones that there's some juried art festivals that are amazing. But but I was talking to some gallery owners, and they were saying that they made half their money at art festivals. Like, like they had a brick and mortar regular sort of gallery, but half the money every year I actually came when they left their brick and mortar gallery and went and sold their art at other places.
Yeah, that's true.
The art market is just so different. If you really like making art and that's what you're all about, then it really pays to be flexible with it, I think. But like for me, like I like going to art festivals, like juried art festivals where they control what art's coming in there. It's I mean, not that I'm hoity-toity, it's just that you want to be in a good environment where you're meeting people that are interested in art, because I don't know, for me it's more entertaining too, because I like to meet people, I like to chat to people. So you have people there that are going there just like they would go to a gallery, and so that it's a lot of fun. You get to talk about your art. People are interested, and so I don't know. That's been an interesting change.
Yeah.
In my viewpoint, like how these pop-up galleries, like festivals, like stores, different places that you never would have thought about before are really selling an incredible amount of art and getting artists' names out there.
So Lisa also said about what we were talking about earlier with museums, that what is it? She still hasn't found anyone who will even talk to her about doing demos at the Denver Museum. How do you get your foot in the door to find a contact? And thanks for sharing your marketing ideas.
Oh.
I'm sure you would agree with this, but one thing with the museums that we've noticed is that a lot of those museums usually have an education director,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where the bulk of the programming comes from. It's because they're geared usually. I mean, at least at the Dallas Museum of Art, where John does a lot of this stuff, is they will do. They have I forget. It's like the C3 is what it's called, and they do like homeschool or just special camps or whatever. And so John will step in and just do little workshops with the kids and stuff. So my suggestion would be to go to thank you, would be to go to maybe like the education director or somebody that's not maybe as hoity-toity as the curator of a museum or whatever. But, just go and talk to somebody that does like more of the community involvement, and maybe that would help out, because I mean, the minute some of those people hear the word volunteer, they're like, give me your name and information. You know? So I don't know. That would be my suggestion.
It's a good point. And we're lucky having the Dallas Museum of Art there and the people that work there. But there aren't a whole lot of museums though that are like that. I mean, it just depends on each museum. But like at the Dallas Museum of Art, the people that work there are so good. They're so proactive, and they're doing things. And it's the same like the Meadows Museum in Dallas, which are just brilliant about that sort of thing. But there's some museums that just aren't though. They're not good with it, and they may not have some programs, and that makes it hard. And that might just be one of the museums that are like that. I mean, you might have to get involved in with a different sort of museum. Sometimes even art. I mean, it just depends on the people that work in the museum. I've done stuff for museums that are art and history museums, and I've worked with a number of those. And you would think, that's what art and history, but science and history. Sorry, not art and history. Art and history, it makes sense. But science and history. And you think, well, why do they have arts there? But you just never know. It just depends on who the curator is, or who the director of education is, or what's going on there, you can have some. Can be interesting.
So it's funny. When Jack walked in, a lot of people said hi. So hi Jack, hi Jack, hi Jack, which was super cute. Thank you.
Thanks.
And Christine Kubala, I may be mispronouncing that, said, "Hi John, love this painting. So fun to see. Last week's painting finished and looked like you had a fun time with Jeff Bridges. So excited for you."
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. It was fun. It was fun being out there.
Owen wrote, "Has writing your book really been a healing way of therapy for you about what you went through and how art had become your passion? Have you thought about writing he's thought about writing his own memoirs."
You know, Owen, to tell you the truth, I wrote it because I love to write, and I just love to write. So I would write down journals. I would write stuff for years, but I mostly wrote fiction and stories. But and whenever I first lost my eyesight, it was hearing different stories about different people going through things, and I always thought it helped me a lot. I always thought that one day I'm just going to do it, and I want to give back in that same way. I mean, whether anybody ever reads it or whatever, I at least want to be part of the conversation. Like I really enjoy hearing what others had to say, and I wanted to at least put out something. I wanted to say something, so that's really what started it, and it's an incredible amount of work. Oh my word, the editing, especially like whenever a publisher will pick it up. I thought I knew what it was like to edit in school, but oh my word, it's so ridiculous. Like, this chapter needs to have 130 less words. I was like, ooh, what's that even mean? I don't know.
Well, let's all be honest. You write a lot.
Well, like for the book, I wrote 800-900 pages. I mean, knowing that I wasn't going to put that in the book. Yeah. But it was just, he was different things. And oh man, we cut out so much. There was some stuff that I would like to actually write and put in something, because there was some funny stuff that just didn't. A lot of the funny stuff was cut out. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny, like, with emails, though, I mean, sometimes you'll write, like, paragraphs upon paragraphs, and I'll go in and you'll be like, "Hey, what do you think about this email?" And, like, take out, like, those couple paragraphs. It doesn't need to be like, but, that's you, man. You like to talk. That's cool. That's what makes it cool.
Yeah. So Owen, if you like to write, if it's cathartic for you, then it could be a really good thing. If you don't, if the writing is okay, or or you can take it or leave it, then it might just turn out to be a huge nightmare. Because it definitely, like, I like to write, and it was definitely interesting. By the end of it, you're thinking like, oh my goodness, I'm glad that's over for a while. I mean, even though I really enjoyed it and I learned a lot, and that's really the way I treated it. Was I was thinking about getting my MFA in writing, because I'm a big nerd, and I just wanted to do that. And but then I'd been offered a book deal like maybe 4 or 5 times before that, and I always turned it down because I didn't feel like it was the right time, And I mean, like, because I figured if you're gonna do that, you're only gonna do, how many times are you gonna write about that subject? And then finally it came along, and it was a good thing. But I treated it almost like school in a way, where I'm learning how a publisher goes about purchasing a book, and how they go about with the editing process, and all these different things. So I feel like I learned a lot from it, and it kind of makes me want to work on another book now, because I learned so much that there are some things that I want to do a little bit different, because like the book hasn't really been put out in Braille yet, which is mind-boggling. And it was one of the things that it was like one of the first things like that I said, well, you're definitely going to put this on tape, and you're going to put it on in Braille, aren't you? And they're like, oh yeah, obviously. And then, but I still haven't. And it's just so you never know. You just never know. Anyway, sorry, that's my next soapbox.
So my mom chimed in and said, when she used to paint, there was an organization that she belonged to called the Society of North American Artists. Mm-hmm. Is there anything out there like that now? I would like to have a resource to give more people with disabilities a chance to exhibit.
Oh, of course there's
there's Vast.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, there's Vast, and Vast is awesome, um, and Vast it's all across the nation. It's international. It's in a lot of different places. If you're in Texas, the people that lead it up here, of course, which I think you might know. I'm sure you know.
Oh, she knows April. April, yeah.
April Sullivan, Cecilia Hughes. Yeah, they're the heads for that. And but you would think there would be more organizations like that, but they're the ones that I keep hearing about over and over, and the work that they do, and they're also fun to hang out with, which is nice. They're such nice, good people. And actually, I talked to Celia once about doing like a little tour, like going to different Vasts, and maybe doing a 7-8 state sort of thing. Which I don't know. We just talked about it once in Albuquerque, and we never talked about it again. But man, if she was on board, I think that would be brilliant. They're able to bring art to so many people that have disabilities, and I just think that's so important. I mean, whenever art came to me, I mean, I was the last person you would expect like to paint. I mean, like especially a career in art. I'm on my word. Like the only worst career would be like airline pilot or something. So, but an organization like Vast, they don't care if you're interested. Then they will make sure that you can get painting, or you can do sculpture, or you can do whatever it is that floats your boat. Need more people like that. So I'm sorry, Marilyn. I guess I don't really know about that many.
I mean, yeah, our only experience is Vast. So
yeah, it's one of the nice things about the Special Arts Festival, like there in Garland, because there aren't that many things out there, and but it's funny though. I mean, like it's hard sometimes for people who have a disability to get into arts, and yet if you go to a museum, almost all the art is done by people with disabilities, and even like you look historically, and a lot of people that you never would have known that had a disability. You find out they actually had hearing problems, or they had dyslexia, or they had different problems, and the people that didn't have a disability or in a museum, they usually were separated from their society in one other way or not another. It seems like.
Oh, you know what? It's VSA.
VSA, yes, Vast is
Vast is the Denton art.
Yes, Vast is Denton. That's right. It's VSA.
Yeah.
Yeah, VSA. Good.
Yeah, Lisa
grief.
just chimed in and said, what does that stand for? And then I Googled it while we were hanging out.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
It's VSA. And
I'm horrible at names. I never would have caught that. I would have, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then their headquarters are in Denton, and
Well, Vast is.
Well, VSA. I don't.
VSA is in Austin.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Oh my gosh. Yes. So VSA is headquartered in Austin, and it stands for Very Special Art.
Well, it doesn't anymore. I think they changed it. It's still VSA, but they.
Oh, I don't. Then it doesn't say on their site.
Yeah, I think it's just. Yeah, I don't know.
It's the State Organization on Arts and Disability. I'm gonna Facebook this to her. Really
but there's also like I think a lot of states have a VSA, and I want to say there might be a national. I don't know.
Probably. So how do you decide what the colors on the boat are going to be?
Well, right now I'm putting it's just a little bit of red. I think I'm going to stop because I'm not quite happy with that sky, so I'm going to have to cover it back up. I'm not sure. I was thinking about making the boat sort of red, but with some golden sort of tones, like some yellows and some purples. But I also like the idea of cerulean blue and that dioxazine purple, so I don't know. But I'm kind of leaning towards like some deep, luxurious reds. I don't know. But some yellows too, because you don't want to make the boat too dark. The sky is going to be so bright that you don't want it to get too crazy. So it does sound like maybe some people would want to do that. Like maybe have the food pairing and the drink pairing, maybe live people. We could, and we could do some things too. Like it doesn't have to be a painting workshop. If we have live people there, we could do we could work on sketching. Some ideas, and it wouldn't have to be me teaching either. We could get somebody else in here.
Yeah, it would be
I'll
fun
also give
for
us some
this.
ideas.
Yeah, it would be fun, collaborative,
Mm-hmm.
some sort of thing. Yeah, Tony chimed in and said it would be great to get sponsors of art supplies to back your weekly show on public broadcasting.
That would be cool.
Just as it is now, from your studio, relaxed and informal. And then Owen said that is a nice sunset.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and that's a good idea about the. I've had people send me some stuff before. Windsor Newton.
Oh yeah.
Sent me a box of stuff to play around with, and the tulip people talked about sending some stuff out.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting email. Yeah, and the like one of the coolest things was a company out of Japan, maybe
China,
and they make these little cameras. I don't even know if they sell them. Well, they sell them on the internet, so you can get them anywhere. But it's called a Clippy, and we just got this thing in the mail, and so we're starting to play with that and use that thing more for like the static videos where we just throw it up on the channel as opposed to the live stream, because it doesn't really do that. But that thing's been pretty cool. And the email from the tulip company, the company that does the fabric paint, which is how back in the day when John first started, that's how he did the raised lines. And so it's always super fun to get emails from companies that are like, hey, you are using this and that's cool, because it helped you through like figuring out numerous crazy processes.
Yeah.
Get past all the obstacles, I guess.
Yeah, and if and if there were any places that would want to send stuff, and we definitely promote it. I mean, that's a really good idea. And especially if you find some materials that you like certain paints and things, it's just you really do want to promote it. Like, I wouldn't want to promote stuff we didn't like, obviously, but if there was something that actually worked, oh my goodness, it would be the best.
So Owen said VSA of Ohio has a yearly grant for $500 for inspiring artists. It's been very helpful for him in his artwork.
Oh, cool. Well, that is cool. I've done a few things in the past with the VSA here in Texas, and it's always been a lot of fun. It seems like here lately, I've done a lot of work with the governor's office for people with disabilities here in Texas, and some different mayor's offices for people with disabilities. A lot of times whenever I work with VSA anymore, it's out of state, but it's like it's like in New Mexico or somewhere, like the conferences, and we'll go there. And VSA is awesome. They'll have closed captioning for people, and do so many neat things. So, how long do we have left?
7 minutes.
Is that all? Well,
Tony said she knows a couple of producers she could reach out to.
Oh, cool. Well,
you're gonna have to get yourself a Bob Ross wig.
Woohoo! That's great. It's a good look. Well, I about got it. I need to get a haircut. Something. This is getting crazy up in here.
You definitely have his soft-spoken demeanor.
I know. It should be completely in opposite though. You need like
the Sam Henderson of art.
I'm gonna paint an angry boat. Angry seas.
That actually would be hilarious.
Yeah. Put a little guy to fill off the boat and he's drowning. No one's gonna help this guy. he's going down for sure.
That would be you. Yeah. You should just do one for kicks.
You should have known better. Don't even try. That would be crazy. Maybe not. Although I don't know, it'd be fun. And I was thinking with Jeff Bridges though when I was there, I thought he doesn't really have people over that often. I don't guess it'd be a thing, because I was thinking like, apparently he's pretty quiet, but I thought it'd be awesome though if he, like for a calling card or something, he ought to have little tiny rugs that he would give out, like, and he would have his name in it. But like, that would be awesome.
That is hilarious.
Just little small rugs. But
oh, that's funny.
I thought it'd be cool to have a little video saying like, "Hey Jeff, I was at your house yesterday. Are you missing something?" You know, and hold up a rug. But
that's funny.
But what the sad thing would be though is that, if he was missing a rug, I was just kidding. I didn't know that was rug, but like the cops are at the door, like, give his rug back.
He doesn't seem the type that would have these giant Oriental rugs anyway. I mean, did you?
Well,
I know in the pictures that were posted that there was one that looked kind of zebra print like.
There are rugs to be had.
There were there was enough square footage, I'm sure, to cover whatever. Yeah. Who knows? I was not lucky enough to go.
Well, you could have.
Yeah.
This whole motherhood thing.
Yeah, priority.
I think you need to be home for your child for some crazy reason.
I guess.
What's that like? Crazy.
Yep.
Hey guys, I know things that are winding down, and but I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching me get all painting. I appreciate that. In the chats, it's just brilliant. It's just so brilliant. I started painting to connect with people, and I never really actually thought that would happen. I thought I was just crazy. But this, for me, is just so cool to be able to chat. And I love the ideas about being able to talk, on Facebook or using the speaker phones and stuff, because, you can call me crazy, but I would love to build a community, where we can chat and we can talk, and, and if somebody's making art, we can support that. And if anybody finishes this painting this week or whenever, or it is, I have to have a time limit. But if you want to share it with us, I'd love for that to happen. I'd love to be able to. And if you want to share it with us and say, I hear I want Jackie to see it and describe it for you, but don't put it on Facebook. We can definitely do that too. We don't. But if you did want to share it, I'd love to be able to.
I would love to see it. I would love to see it.
And if you're an artist and you're wanting to put your art out there, and we've got this community going where we're chatting, it'd be great to be able to put your name, your contact information, and and your work and all, because I really feel like whether you're a hobby artist where you just have an interest in art, if you're a professional artist, all of us together talking about art and just having fun with this and just having a good time, it's just going to lead to better things for all of us. It's fun. And I'm definitely having a blast. This boat is crazy right now. It would be condemned. But
Virginia says, you guys are fun. Thanks for being there. And Owen said, you're welcome for watching. And Evelyn said, thank you so much for doing the painting with us. And I want to see her painting when she's done with it.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool?
Tony said, totally enjoyed tonight. Looking forward to next week. Will you be back from New Orleans in time to do the show? Thanks for sharing and putting all the effort in. That's a great question, Tony.
Thank you.
Talk about how we're going to do next week.
Well, we're hoping to. That's the idea. Like, I was wondering if it'd be better if we put it off on a different day, like Saturday, but we want to keep consistent, time. Just because it's easier for, but.
I would say, at this rate, we're kind of thinking we'll leave Friday. We're going to leave New Orleans at no later than 10.
I was thinking 8.
Or 8 even, and then be up here by 4 so that we can get ready and film at 7.
Yeah, and it's such a weird thing. It's like, I figured we probably might not be here till 5. Then we have to go get our son.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, we have to.
So it'll definitely be. It may be that we get to the house, an hour before.
I think if we're gonna do it on Friday,
but I'm down.
We may be delirious from. I will probably be delirious from driving constantly, and we may be just bumbling idiots. But that could be fun. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the goal is, do it Friday and just see what happens.
Yeah, and I almost wondered too, because I'm going to do a live painting for the Lighthouse of the Blind there. And I thought, well, maybe we should live stream that, but that's on a Wednesday night, so that's a very different night. And so I wasn't sure. And I wasn't sure if they would want to do that. And, I don't know if there's children there, if there's things.
Yeah, that could be tricky.
Yeah, but it'd be fun, though, to go somewhere and, it'd be fun to have a live stream in New Orleans. We could all sip crazy giant drinks.
Lisa said, thanks guys, see you next week. She votes keep it on Friday. And then Owen said he's going. He's got a wine tasting tomorrow.
Oh, have fun at that,
And
Owen. Awesome.
Art show opening for Joanne DePola's studios and gallery that he also paints for. It'll be awesome. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know if Owen has sent over like any like Facebook links to her stuff, but it'd be cool to see if he wants to share.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, and yeah, I bet we could definitely share her gallery. And it's in Ohio, I believe.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to go by that place. It's on my bucket list for whenever I get to Ohio.
Yeah.
But
so it's 9:00. What are you gonna? What's the plan with that painting for everybody?
Oh, I'm gonna finish this painting up, and I'll post it. And if I don't finish it before we leave for New Orleans, I'm gonna take it with me in New Orleans and finish it there. So I'll definitely have it for next week. So we'll have it, and I'll post it. And if anybody works on a similar painting and wants to share it, or any of their other art, I mean, it doesn't have to be just this, but if you get inspired to paint something this week, share it. That'd be cool. Maybe it'll inspire us to do a different kind of painting. And also, if you like and share, that is so brilliant and it's so wonderful. It's funny in this day and age. You wouldn't think just clicking like and has that much of an effect, but it really does, and it just shows support for things. So. For all of you that have done that and come here tonight, thank you guys so much. And I'm looking forward to next week, and pretty soon we're going to have that live thing going on. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Or it could be a disaster. I don't know, but either way, it won't be boring.
Either way, it'll be entertaining.
Well, thanks so much for spending the evening with us, guys.
Yeah, thanks again, guys. We will see you, I guess, next week.
Yeah, we'll see you in 7 days.
Yep.
If not before.
Later.
You can hit me with that too.